And just so you know this, I am recording our classes and I'm going to post it on the link below that particular live class link. So should you miss, should you have technical difficulties, you can look back on that video. Okay, let me get everyone in here. It is a process, let me tell you. Okay. Also, every day come to this. There's probably some videos every week where I need to explain things, and I don't have a lot of time in class with 20 minutes to explain everything. So it would be great if you would watch these on how I want you to submit your quizzes. And there's a little correction on problem 6 on the paper version if you picked up paper copies. Just quickly, so let me go to my inbox here. Sent mail, quiz submission. So you got a quiz or an email today, excuse me, that said this: please submit your quiz by responding to this email. And that's what I want you to do. If I don't do this, I'm going to have 104 quizzes flooding my inbox. What a wonderful thing. But I want to stay organized with it. So please, when you submit quizzes, respond to the email that I give you. So each quiz will have a different email. And then I can just keep that email with those 104, 105 quizzes in. Should I need to look back, or if I misgraded something, or if I forgot to put the grade in PowerSchool. So please try to do that. It makes life a lot easier. If you forget and you do a separate email, I'll kindly remind you, please submit it to the email that we're using for the quiz. Also, your picks need to be readable. Okay, so check it out after you send it, look at them, make sure that I can read them. All right, so we're going to get started on a practice quiz today, which means I need this guy here. I'm going to do practice quiz 2, and you can follow along in your sleepy-eyed morning state that you're in. And there's videos for 1 and 3 also. Some very weird things have been happening on YouTube lately. Like, it's been down worldwide here and there the last 2 weeks. So I hope nothing bad happens, because all of my videos are on YouTube. All right, so practice quiz 2. So you have this great big long polynomial, and you need to state all the zeros and all the multiplicities. So what you should do, first of all, is to take all the factors, forget the -4 that's in front there, but just write all these factors above the boxes with their parentheses and their exponent, because the exponent is the multiplicity. So just kind of write it right across the top like that. And then go through and get the zeros. So you should be fairly familiar with how to get the zero from a factor. Now, I didn't have it on the same order quite on the answer key. The order doesn't matter. But basically, you're setting the factor equal to 0 and solving for x. So here, x equals 0. Basically, if x is the factor, 0 is the 0. What are zeros? They're x-intercepts, by the way. X minus 1 equals 0, so x equals 1, so on and so forth. And then the multiplicities are the powers on the factors. So this is a highlighter time. So you use highlighters when you want to emphasize that this number is the same as that one, that is the same as that which is a 1 is the same, so on and so forth. or you want to emphasize all of those being the same. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing on this quiz, not quite in that big drawn out fashion with the factors. What's the leading coefficient? Now, what you can do here is you can type this into Wolfram Alpha and have it spit it back at you. Or you can just realize that you're multiplying all these numbers that are the coefficients on X and then raising it to the power that's the multiplicity. Because it's just like if I wrote this whole thing out and I did -4 times 1 squared times 1 times 1 squared times 2 squared. What would that give me if I did that? So instead of going to Wolfram Alpha, you can just do this, times 1 squared times 2 squared. So it's just taking all of these coefficients of X, raising them to the power, because what's happening, X minus what you're doing, X minus 1 times X minus 1. So 1 gets multiplied twice. 1 just once here, and then you've got X minus 1 times X minus 1, so 1 gets multiplied twice. Then 2X plus 3 times 2X plus 3, so 2 gets multiplied twice. You can just do it like this, and then this will give it to you. Or, as I told you before, you can go to Wolfram Alpha and type that whole thing in, and it'll expand it out. Which, by the way, on number 3, that's where I'm going to go next. So here it is. You can use this to expand out these polynomials. So you would take the 2x to the 4th minus 8x cubed minus 6x squared plus 36x, and you would write that in the standard form. I really should be saying expanded form. Minus 6x squared plus 36x. Okay, we'll come back to the overhead here now. So you get that in. And it's really good to know that every time, because it helps you to immediately answer the y-intercept. So that's the number added on the end. And it also helps you to get the degree and the leading coefficient. So the degree is this highest power here, which will come first when it gets expanded out. And then the leading coefficient is that coefficient on it. So that's an even positive. And then you take your trusty little, and you look up even positive. So the left end should be going out towards infinity and the right end should be going out towards infinity. Okay, and then the table. So basically you're taking all of your factors, ignoring the common factor in front. That's important that you ignore the common factor in front of 2. That 2 right there, just ignore it. So 0, 3, and -2. And then multiplicity is 1, 2, and 1. Remember, it's the powers that are the multiplicities. Okay, so graph. Now, this is where you want to get a peek at the graph before you probably go and start doing things. Okay, note that at 3, it's going to bounce because of the multiplicity of 2. So when you look at the graph, it comes way down here, and then it comes kind of way up here. And the question becomes, how far down and how far up the y-intercept is 0 do you got to go? Well, if you want to get hyper accurate, you can. And this does it. So here, this is the meta calculator. You're going to type it in over here and press enter. And so this got this little dot on here so you can actually tell. So like -33 about, that's a long ways down there. And then up here at 24.5, 25. So that will actually help you to see. So you can like hit this plus and minus will help you to see it. Again, I'm not real concerned about that you get the maxes and mins right. I'm concerned that you are learning to put this information together, and then the behavior at the x-intercepts is everything. All right, I got 10 minutes to go. Gotta go, go, go. Okay, so same thing, you want to put this in to Wolfram Alpha to get it expanded out. I put a line through it this time, but you still should do it. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to answer this. So the leading term is 1x to the 5th when you do that. You expanded it out. So the degree is 5, the leading coefficient is 1. So we got another odd positive, meaning this, you would look this up off the paper, and then 16 is the, so you got a bunch of stuff in the middle here, and then 16 on the end. And then you want to take the factors down here at the top with their powers. So this would be -2, 2, and 1. Remember, these are the x-intercepts. Multiplicity 3, that's new. So what's up with a multiplicity of 3? That means that it's going to cut through, so you want to label the x-intercepts, and there they are, and the y-intercept. It's going to cut through flat. So it's something that I put here. That's something you might want to sketch. When you get to higher multiplicities, so 1 means it cuts straight through. 3 means it cuts through, but it gets flat. 2 means it bounces, and we won't go to a 4. A 4 would mean it would bounce also, but it would be a flatter bounce. So you're coming up and you're getting flat right around there. And then up to 16 again, and I don't know if it goes up here, then comes back down. You'd have to look at the graph a little bit closer. But I would assume in my answer key, since I had it that way, that it probably doesn't. So that's what I would need to see in your efforts. This flatness at -2, that's the big thing there. With the behavior of the graph. And again, we don't quite know this, and we don't quite know, was 16 the peak? Did it come up here? Was there a peak after 16 or before it? That you'd have to look at the graph on to get down 100%. Okay, problem 5. 7 minutes to go. So here, you're going to take this in to the Math Portal site. And so there's the result. Okay, this is, my computer's awful slow here. So you're going to put this in. Come on, come on, come on. And you'll get 3 2s. Okay. It's got to be up. And where are you? There you are. You put it in, you press find roots, and there's 3 2s. So what that means is you've got x minus 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 2 when you write this out. So we can go right there right now. So it's a triple root, meaning that this happens 3 times, which means x minus 2 to the 3rd. Okay, so degree is 3. Leading coefficient is 1, so we have an odd positive. Y-intercept is -8, and so you look this up again with an odd positive. -infinity, positive infinity. So all that happens here is you come up through -8, and then you get flat at 2. That's not very good, but you get the idea. You get flat at 2, and you cut through. So I would need to see some effort to do that rather than just coming straight through at 2. This is a little steeper when you look at it, but it gets flat there, and I would need to see you attempting to do that when you sketch it. All right, problem 6, you have the graph, which is nice. And notice that at -2, 1, and 3, it cuts through, but it doesn't get flat. So that tells me that all of these have a multiplicity of 1. Remember, these are the x-intercepts. So that this would be x plus 2 to the first, x minus 1 to the first, x minus 3. All have a multiplicity of 1 based on how they cut through. So if you saw a bounce off the x-axis on any of these, then there would be a multiplicity of 2. And if you see it getting flat but cutting through, then that would be a multiplicity of 3. Those are the only 3 possibilities we're going to have on the quiz. So the first thing you can do is go up here, and I will tell you that there are no common factors. If there is, I would tell you on the quiz right here underneath that. Okay, so there aren't any. So you need to expand this out. Wolfram Alpha would do it. On this quiz, we're going to use more technology than any other quiz. More sites to help us. So you would take that in, expand it out. 6 is the y-intercept. Degree is 3, leading coefficient is 1. So another odd positive. And when you're done with this, forget you're looking that up on this, this has to match what this graph is giving you. And it does. So we have a negative infinity left end behavior, positive infinity right end. So that this just means as left end means as x goes to negative infinity, what does y go to? So this is what y is doing as the x gets way to the right and way to the left. All right, so that's, I think I'm gonna have time to do the spiral, is the main part of the quiz. Pretty simple actually if you'll learn how to use those sites. All right, so you'll notice these questions have a little bit to do with what we've done before in the first trimester, but they're SAT style questions. So this first one is a game of substitution. Knowing that the f of x is y, and that's where we're going to put 5, and then the x is 2, so that's where we're going to put 2. And then we're going to solve for b. So you substitute in left to right. And the only thing you don't know is b. So this is actually 12, and then 2b, and then 15, and then just solve it like you think. Add the 12 and the 15, subtract the 27, and divide by 2. Okay, so substitute, solve for b. It's pretty simple to do compared to the rest of the quiz. 8 actually ends up being pretty simple also. We just have to use our common sense. So we have a 7x squared, and the only way to break that up is that way. So a is 7 and b is 1, or a is 1 and b is 7. It doesn't matter. So this is what you're looking at. So what's the value of m? Well, you have to do the FOIL product, which I'm going to do that really quick. So 8 is m. That's the b value in the quadratic. So optional to do the spiral, but I think it's a good idea because the retake is really short. And then just know all 3 of your sites that you can use. And please watch the video. I got 1 minute left. These 2 videos here, please watch them. They're less than 3 minutes just to make sure that you have everything correct and what's going on. All right, it's 9:35. We will see all of you on Thursday.